Mm. Mm. Well, Frankie Russo coming at you straight out of Brooklyn. Straight out of Brooklyn. Frankie Russo coming at you straight out of Brooklyn. So now I got Facebook going on. What up, Dan? What's poppin', son? So what's poppin', son? Thank you, Dan. I'm over here. What up, Justin? So tonight, let's see what's going on. Let's see, cause I got like, yo, I'm over Facebook Live. I'm over here. I want you to get my app because eventually I want to broadcast just out of my app. So I'm working on that right now. Yo, Nate, strike one. Nate Turner, strike one. Don't come into the room cursing. I got a scope chat room going on while I'm doing the live thing. What up, Pat? Pat Dawkins on Facebook Live. What's popping? So I got the vectors for the Wuhan virus. We got the big board. Two things today. We're gonna look at the vectors for. Thank you, Henry. Thank you for the. Hey, Henry, join my app. I got an app. Frankie Russo. Thank you, Rambling Man, for the retweets. I got Frankie Russo. You go to the Apple Store or you go to the Google Play if you got an Android and download the app. It's free. Come on, son, help me out. Help me out. Okay, I'm trying to get 500 subscribers. If I get 500 to 1,000 subscribers on my app, I'm in action. I'm trying to get back on the radio. I got some calls so I'm trying to make it happen. Please, Henry, it takes 2 seconds. It's free. You want to help Frankie Russo get back on the air? So get back on the radio because that's where I want to go. So I'm going to go. Hey, Pay, thank you for the visit. Thank you for the information. Thank you. So let's see. Let's see if we're on. We got Facebook Live going. Russo's on Facebook Live simultaneously. Is that right? Is that the right word? Son, simultaneously. Thank you, Dan. Thank you. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Pat. Yeah, man. Making it happen. So, absolutely, Pay. So let me see what's going on YouTube. I got something popping on YouTube, I hope. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, I'm live on YouTube. Russo's live on YouTube, son. I'm live on YouTube. Can't believe it. And this is all at one time. Let's see Twitter. Let's see what's going on with Twitter, son. Thank you, Night Raider, for the retweets. Let's see what's going on. Hey, Denise from Queens, how are you? You got to get my app. I'm live on Twitter simultaneously. Or you could go to my website. Let's look at my website. FrankieRusso.media. Look at this. Russo's popping tonight. FrankieRusso.media. I'm live on. You click on the button and I'll be live there. I'm live on I'm live on the website. This is crazy. You go at the website. I'm popping live on the website. So how you all doing tonight? Straight out of Brooklyn, Frankie Russo, broadcasting simultaneously. Oh my God, that's a long word. That's a long word, man. Straight out of Brooklyn. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube Live, and my website, FrankieRusso.media. How you all doing tonight? Please, Dan. Dan says he's going to get the app. Dan, just go to The Apple Store, Denise, just go to the Apple Store. Absolutely. I'll take Saturday night, Denise. I like that. Denise from Facebook Live said I should go on. I'd take Saturday night. I like that. I'll take the weekend. Just put me on the mic. The airwaves won't be the same. Russo gets on those airwaves, they won't be the same. So let's get started. Outside looking in. No U.S. Congressional Oversight Committee. No International Atomic Energy Agency. No Joint Chiefs of Staff. No National Security Council. No access to classified docs, nor do I know anyone who's access to classified docs. Court papers, judges' decisions, peer-reviewed journal articles, and well-sourced, well-researched open source articles. What we're searching for, it's a quasi-model, quote-unquote statistical significance, and all likelihood, no probability, look for trends, differences, and patterns in the data, and then we conceivably reach reasonable, responsible conclusions. And by the way, we believe our conclusions are close. Classified information is the mean. We're within the standard deviation of the mean. The Russo disclaimer. So I got my disclaimer out there. You got to go to my website. Oh, has it, Denise? Okay. Well, you're there. You're there, honey. You're on point. So go to my website, FrankieRusso.media, or you go to Facebook Live. I'm popping there simultaneously. You go to YouTube Live. I'm over there. You go to Scope, Periscope. You'll see the live broadcast out of there. Russo's popping everywhere. So this is off my app. I'm running a Scope thing too because I'm trying to bring, like Facebook, I'm trying to bring you all to get my app so I could just broadcast out of my app. It's free, and I'm trying to get 500 to 1,000 subscribers. Between my social media and my, I'm getting ready to launch my email marketing. I got some other things in the hopper for my app. And then, I get 500 to 1,000. I saw that, Night Raider. Thank you so much, my brother. So let's get started, okay? So first thing, right? Our great president is doing an amazing job, right? He's going warp speed for that vaccine. God bless him. And he's hitting hard, right? He's going after a lot of people. Now, what I found on today, the FBI director, Chris Wray, who's going under a lot of fire. You see, this is how the deep state rolls, right? Chris, our great president, and it's my understanding, I haven't seen a tweet, but it's my understanding our great president has tweeted out against Chris Wray. That's my understanding. I was watching Sean Hannity before he came on the air. So, Chris Wray is coming under fire because he's not acting swiftly enough about this unmasking, these FISA warrants. Congressman Jordan on the Sean Hannity show was like all over the FBI director, They want Lieutenant General Michael Flynn to be the FBI director. That would be amazing. Wow, that would be an amazing appointment. But, so this is how they roll, right? The deep state, right? You got the rogue wing of the CIA, which is the Brennan, Morrell, Panetta wing of the CIA, and then you got the FBI. You got the Comey Mueller wing. Those are the rogue agents, and the agents that go under them. And we know based on the data that's come out in the open source, you had a fake Trump dossier, right, being propped up by the Comey group, the Comey rogue agents inside the FBI, presented that fake Trump dossier to get a FISA warrant under the guise of spying on foreign enemy actors, but in essence, getting the Americans, like Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, and unmasking them, and not only unmasking them, but leaking them to the public. Beyond belief, right? This stuff, the Maduro regime in Venezuela does, right? You expect that from Venezuela, not the United States of America. But that's how this whole thing has been rolling, right? So now I found it kind of odd today with all of the current news cycle going out against Christopher Wray, the FBI director. He comes out with this, which I thought was kind of odd. All of a sudden now, because this is how they do. They come out with things like this. So it's like they try to It's like political. It's like PR because these intelligence agencies are very concerned about their image, their PR image, their image to the public. We're looking at government now on steroids, right? These departments now are huge. These executive branch of the United States government is huge, right? Huge. So, so that's what's going on, right? So let me get this. Here we go. Wow, look at that. So check this out, bro, right? So we're going something. So this guy, this gunman from Pensacola military base linked to Al Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. Absolutely, Denise. I'm with you. Denise from Facebook Live says Christopher Wray should be fired. It would be great. President Trump brings in Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, head of the FBI. Oh my God. Would he be sticking it to him? But you want to know something? Let's just win. Let's get our great president reelected, and let's get some Trump coattails. And just the fact that he wins, boy, will we be sticking it to these rats. Oh my goodness. Right? So here we go. Here's where it starts. The shooter, according to the Associated Press, they're no Trumpers, right? They hate Trump, they hate the Trumpers, they hate the Trumpocrats, they hate the independents for Trump. Right? So they're not going to do us any favors. The gunman who killed the 3 U.S. sailors at a military base in Florida in December communicated with Al Qaeda operatives about planning and tactics leading up to the attack. And according to Attorney General Barr, Apple, I don't understand why. I couldn't understand. I do understand the privacy issue. You know, I get it. You know, Apple, Tim Cook, I do get the privacy issue, you know. But we're talking about terrorists. We're talking about dudes that took guns to our men and women of the United States Armed Forces. That should be like the exception to the rule of this privacy issue that Apple is standing behind, not helping the DOJ and the FBI to crack this guy Mohammed Al-Shrani, Mohammed Al-Shrani, right? Mohammed, I'm gonna get it, Mohammed Al-Shrani, okay, Shrami. Operatives of Al Qaeda after FBI technicians succeeded in breaking into 2 cell phones that had previously been locked and that the shooter had tried to destroy before he was killed by a sheriff's deputy. So this guy, Mohammed Al-Shrami, right, was training at this Air Force base in Pensacola, Florida. And he ended up whacking horrific hit on 3 U.S. servicemen. I think he wounded a half dozen to a dozen as well. The new details, including how this Al-Shrami had been radicalized abroad before he arrived in the U.S., crazy stuff, raised fresh questions about the vetting of foreign military members and trainees who spent time at American bases. The announcement also comes amid tension when the U.S. over instability in the oil market during the coronavirus pandemic, and as the Trump administration faces criticism that it has not done enough to hold the kingdom, which is ridiculous, right? That's ridiculous. I mean, the logic is beyond belief, right? They're saying that the Trump administration hasn't done enough to hold the kingdom. Like, are you kidding me? That was one of the first things Trump did. Absolutely not. Oh my God. Just think about this. That's a great point. Night Raider goes, Trump better win, or this country is going to be a terrorist haven. He's right. What did Trump do? Could you imagine if Hillary Clinton was the president right now? We'd be in, forget about it. Oh my God. The civil unrest would be beyond belief. We would be in serious trouble right now as a nation if Hillary Clinton was the president right now, with what we know. Beyond belief. Right? I'm going to my app right now. So, that's right. Pat Dawkins from Facebook Live says, it's Trump and America or communist, the New World Order. Absolutely, Pat. So let's see if I got anybody from YouTube coming in. Let's see what I got from YouTube. Nothing yet. Nobody coming in. Anybody? Okay, so you got to go to my app. So this is what we're doing, right? So this guy, Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, by the way, that was Anwar al-Awlaki's group. He was the 9/11 Imam, and he ended up speaking at the Pentagon months after September 11th hit, and then he ended up becoming a Muslim cleric at George Washington University, and then Mueller did his. They captured him in 2002, the 9/11 Imam, Anwar al-Awlaki, and the distinguished spy master, Bob Mueller, released him. And he had to go before the Congressional Oversight Committee to explain why. 9/11 Imam, Anwar al-Awlaki, he was an FBI asset, quite frankly, as was Abdel Sattar Sheikh, who was the head of the, who actually facilitated the San Diego terror cell, the pre-9/11 hit, where the 9/11 hijackers were actually attending flight school, getting ready and planning to blow us up and kill Americans, right? And Anwar al-Awlaki ended up going to Yemen with Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. And you know this guy reminds me of? This Mohammed, let me get this guy's, Mohammed al-Shrami. Mohammed al-Shrami reminds me of Adnan al-Sharike Juma. Adnan al-Sharike Juma is also a Saudi. He's also Saudi. A Saudi national that went from Saudi to Florida. He established residence in Florida. Then he went to that. Then he joined Muhammad Atta in Florida. He was in that terror cell for a while with the 9/11 hijackers, and then he went out to New Orleans, Louisiana. That vector that we talk about all the time. New Orleans, Louisiana. By the way, here's my app. I'm going to my app right now. Here's my app. You got to go to the. You got to go. Dan. That's right. Pat Dawkins from Facebook Live. You got to go to my app, man. You got to go to Apple Store, Google Play, put Frankie Russo in there and download my app. Communist New World Order it would be pushed on kids in schools and American Library Association. Unfortunately, Dan, you're 100%. Unfortunately, it seems to be trending in that direction. We as Americans, that's why this election is probably the most important election. You know, hear this explanation. Well, you know, every 4 years, this is the most important election of our lifetime. No. This election right here is the most important election in our lifetime. This is our chance on November 3rd, 2020, to vote and impeach the Democrats, like they tried to embarrass and disgrace our great president, Donald John Trump. It's time for the Trumpers, the Trumpocrats, the Trump Republicans, the independents for Trump. It's time for us to get out, and we got to have a vote that's beyond belief. Because I believe that the John Kennedy Democrats, the Reagan Democrats are now Republicans, right? The Democrats are communists and socialists. They're Marxists. They're Sandinistas. Cuomo's lying in the streets with the Islamists while he's saying the pipe bomb is who tried to blow up the subways, a lone wolf, while he's downloading the Inspire magazine. He's downloading the internet to try to build the bomb. And we know that the Boston Marathon bomb is downloading Inspire magazine to build the bomb. So, this is and then you got the governor and the mayor like de Blasio, because de Blasio, Orthodox Jews were attending a funeral in New York City, and he arrested them. If that was the Muslims praying in the streets, right, what would he be doing? De Blasio wouldn't say nothing because he'd be afraid he'd get whacked, right? Let's be real, right? It's true. De Blasio would turn the other way. He said, let him alone. He don't want to have a problem. Those Muslims would be right up in his face. It's a disgrace. Thank you, Dan. Dan had to leave from Facebook Live. Thank you for the visit, Dan. God bless you. So now, this is where we are, right? So we got this guy who, so I don't know why Apple, thank you, Ron, for the comments, Ronnie Rice. I don't know why Apple didn't help. I just don't understand that, Evidence in, wow. So the American Library Association is training kids for Marxism, for socialism. Wow, so, okay. Thank you, Ronnie Rice, for the hello. So this is what we're doing over here, right? So now, by the way, Frankie Russo is broadcasting simultaneously. Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Periscope Live. I also got a Periscope show going on because I'm trying to get my Periscope followers to buy my, they have to buy. My app is free. Go to the Apple Store, Frankie Russo. Go to the Google Play if you got an Android, Frankie Russo. Let's get this started. I got to get 500 subscribers at least. Let's get this started, okay? So we got this guy, the shooter at the Pensacola base, coordinated with Al Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, and we know that Anwar al-Awlaki got whacked in 2011. He's probably inspired by Anwar al-Awlaki, because Anwar al-Awlaki was this YouTube sensation for the radical Islamists. He was the one. He was involved in. He had at least 55 to 58 homegrown radical Islamists in America had ties to Anwar al-Awlaki. Anwar al-Awlaki was the 9/11 Imam. Anwar al-Awlaki was released. The FBI had him, like we said earlier, and Anwar al-Awlaki was released by the spy master Bob Mueller. He had to answer to the congressional oversights on that thing. So that's just where we're headed with this thing. So we believe that this is a way that the FBI tries to change the narrative in the open source, right? All the heat's going on Christopher Wray. They're covering up this unmasking issue, this FISA warrant issue. And you hear it in the open source. They go, well, this is a customary thing. 10,000 unmaskings have been going on for a long time. You know what's horrific is, what they say this with a straight face, the timing of them. After an election? Are you kidding me? The highest ranking intel officer on the planet was Lieutenant General Michael Flynn at one time in his career. He was the director of the DIA. Why do you think they went after him? He had all the data on Benghazi, right? Iran was behind the hit on Benghazi. Obama and Hillary Rodham Clinton is covering up for the mullahs in Iran and afraid to send in the air support, right? For the Benghazi mission with the Americans were where they were. And they were holding, if you saw, I saw the movie, so, it's a movie, 13 hours, but according to the director, they tried to be as close to the events as possible. So the movie is the movie. So let's say it's 80% true, right? Off the hook. They were shooting mortars from the mosque. They were going, Allah! And they were shooting the mortars at the Americans. The Obama-Clinton crime family never sent air support. Why do you think? You got to go to my website, frankierusso.media. The Obama-Clinton crime family, 10 years removed from the horrific hit on the World Trade Center, gave the Al-Qaeda in Libya, Mustafa Jalal and Abdel Hakim Belhaj, 20,000 Soviet manpads and 400 FIM-92s, U.S. Stingers, U.S. manpads. He armed up Thank you, Dan. He armed up Al Qaeda. Obama and Hillary Rodham Clinton armed up Al Qaeda in Libya. So they were afraid to bring the air support. Why? Because they were going to be embarrassed. They were afraid they were going to be embarrassed that the Islamists were going to shoot them down. It's crazy. Absolutely, Night Raider. It's crazy stuff. Right? So that's why they didn't send the air support. Right? They covered that up. Obama and Hillary Rodham Clinton called on Bob Pickering from Boeing and Admiral Mullen, the Accountability Review Board, exonerating Hillary Rodham Clinton and Barack Hussein Obama for any wrongdoings of Benghazi. Do you believe that? I don't. God bless you, Dan. Thank you for downloading the app. Dan, from my Facebook Live page, downloaded the app. You all got to download my app if you want to help Frankie Russo. It's free. Okay? Next thing, right? Now, in addition, the Obama-Clinton crime family, absolutely. You got to get the bomber in there, Night Raider. Flynn will know about Benghazi, which he does. Also, Flynn called out Denise, great point. Wait a second. Denise, he's the director of the DIA, okay? We got to give him his day and let him explain himself. I don't believe what was said about because there's a lot in the open source. What do you mean may, Gary? Gary from my scope thing goes, they may look into Trump again. Yeah. What do you think, Gary? You're a lefty. What do you think they're doing? They got a COVID whistleblower. What do you think's going on? And then they're asking for the grand jury minutes of the Mueller report because they're going to try to impeach him again. This is what we got to get rid of them. We got to get rid of them. We got to get rid of these Democrats. We need the Trump coattails. Now let's get back to Lieutenant General Michael Flynn. He was a director of the DIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency, right? In 2013, he came out with a seething report that North Korea has miniaturized nuclear warheads for its long-term ballistic missiles. And he said in his report, highly confident. They said that's old news. They had it since 2006. Obama, knowing this, ignored the report. Obama, the fearless leader that armed up Al Qaeda 10 years removed from September 11, 2001, that told the Khomeini, gave him 4 letters, don't worry, I'm sending you $150 bill. I got to get 2 points. That's $3 billion. And he's got that in the Al Shalom Islamic Bank in Sudan with his brother Malik Obama and Omar al-Bashir, who just got couped recently, right? And then he said, no, hey, listen, he does what he wants, Gary. Guess what, Gary? Donald John Trump is the president of the United States. Isn't that something? He hires and he fires who he wants. He is the president of the United States of America. Last time I checked, Donald John Trump is the president of the United States. He can fire who he wants from the executive branch of the United States government. He can fire the FBI director anytime he wants. He can fire the IGs anytime he wants. He is the president of the United States of America. Last time I checked. Beyond belief. Beyond belief. You got people coming in this room dropping stuff that don't even know quite frankly, what they're talking about. Now, getting back to Lieutenant General Michael Flynn. So, Obama sat on his hands like he did with Assad, guessing and chemical weaponizing against its own people. They couped over there, right? He couped Syria. Obama sat on his hands with the mullahs, with Ahmadinejad. They couped over there. The IRGC was whacking its people. Obama didn't say nothing. Arab Spring, the little rat that he was, right? Arab Spring. No. Wrong, Gary. The President of the United States, the IG serves at the President's leisure. The President don't want you, you're out. He gets to appoint a new one. He is the President of the United States of America, son. Last time I checked. And guess what? He's going to get reelected. That's going to really get you. You're going to be another snowflake for another 4 years. Isn't it beautiful? So, Obama, he gave 1.7 to the IRGC. What does Trump do? Sanctions them. Trump's got his heel. Now we're going to go into the vectors, the China, because we're saying tonight, we've been saying it for some time, but we're going to start to drill down. And this is where we're going to talk about the Chinese Wuhan virus, which we believe our premise is, right, that the major cover-up in China, the Chinese Communist Party, with Iran, with Russia. Iran's motive, they want revenge. We just whacked Soleimani, right? China wants to reduce us, right? China wants to reduce us, right? So the virus, right? And Russia, they're complicit. Russia's everybody's, right? So Russia's friends with Iran. They're building nuclear weapons inside the they are nuclear reactors. They're really weapons inside of Iran. Russia's building LNG plants in Yamal Peninsula with China. And, President Trump is playing hardball with Iran and talking to Russia. Because don't forget, when Soleimani was alive and Assad was collapsing, the Soleimani rat general went to the Putin regime to help keep Assad in power. I don't care, Gary. The President of the United States is entitled to do what he wants. It's his. He's the President of the United States, and he does what he wants. Very true. Very true, Denise. And Hillary Rodham Clinton and Barack Hussein Obama and NATO, England and France, and Qatar and Saudi and Turkey are behind this Benghazi and this whole Benghazi debacle, the debacle in Egypt, cooing Mubarak and putting in Morsi. And the dealings with the mullahs, giving them all that money, saying it was The Hague, saying it was, we didn't give them the jet fighters and we kept their 400 million. It accrued in interest to 150 billion. I mean, it's beyond belief what the Obama Clinton crime family did. They armed with money, weapons, and training the radical Islamists throughout the world. Crazy, right? So now let's get this. I got the vectors over here. I want to go through the vectors. Why we believe the Wuhan virus is a human bioweapon. Now, Trump is the best, Knight Rider. Now, looking at this, we're not saying, I don't know what happened in Wuhan, right? I'm over here in Brooklyn. So I'm not saying that I know, right? I don't know what happened in the Wuhan lab. I don't know what happened in Wuhan, China. I know there was a major cover-up. And we're going to go some of the things that we know. And we believe the vectors, we're going to go all the way to the Western Hemisphere. And I'm going to bring you right up. The vectors from the Western Hemisphere going up through the southern border, either from Bogota, Colombia, into Canada, or we go through Mexico, and we're going into the United States that way. So this is how these Islamists are moving, right? So I'm going to show you. I got the big board here. We first drilled down with the vectors on the little board just to give you an idea. And now I'm going to the big board. It's the big white board I'm going to. And then we'll wind this baby down. All right? This is great. So you got to join my app. Frankie Russo Apple Store, Frankie Russo Google Play. I'm simultaneously broadcasting to Facebook, to YouTube, to Scope, and my website. You go to my website, it's right there. I'm right there. Right on the home page. Just go to frankierusso.media, you see it there. But you got to get the app because the app is even, the app, you got access to everything. And it's free. It's free. It's free. So that's where we are. So let me get the board and we'll fit. We're rocking over here. Let's see what's going on. Yeah. The Facebook thing is going pretty cool. So let me go and let me get my board. I'm going to show you why we believe here at the Frankie Russo Show. I did 143 hours at 77 WABC. We predicted the Trump victory. We called Wisconsin, Michigan. We called Pennsylvania, Ohio. We had Minnesota, but Ivan McMillan, if he wasn't there, Trump would have won Minnesota. That would have been a red state. And we had Colorado, but the crooks in Colorado was so bad it was beyond belief, right? And then we called out the Iranian Global Terror Network, which we believed was ISIS, which we believed. We talked about General Soleimani, and what did Trump do? He got out of the fake Iranian nuke deal because they didn't include the Iran's long-term ballistic missile program inside the Iranian nuke deal, and he whacked Soleimani. Also, we got the vectors. So we've been predicting we're ahead of the curve. The Frankie Russo Show, quite frankly and honestly, is ahead of the curve. We're ahead of all of them. And I don't have big Fox News behind me. Fox News is the greatest, one of the greatest broadcasting companies on the planet. I don't have Fox News behind me. And we're ahead of the curve, man. We got Venezuela, the next Syria. That's the next one. And then we got Iran, right? We got the next. Russo's got this one like, forget it. I've been following this guy for 20 years. Reza Pahlavi. We got to keep him out of, because the mullahs are going to collapse. The Ayatollah is going to collapse. And when it does, they're going to want, there's Americans in here that want to put Reza Pahlavi in power in Iran, the Shah's son back. And that is the next, they're very good, absolutely. OANN is very good. But they want to put Reza Pahlavi in power, the Shah's son. There's a group in here in America. That's the next Hitler. The next Nazi Germany is Iran. The next Ottoman Empire, Iran. Iran is the next Ottoman Empire. You heard it here at the Frankie Russo Show. I'm telling you stuff before it's happening. I got the vectors. When the Mandalay Bay came, I plotted the vectors from the poppy fields of Mexico to the streets of New York in February 19. This is on my website, frankierusso.media. It's right there. The New York Post took the vector on February 2019. I plotted that vector in October of 2017 because I was trying to figure out and understand what happened in Mandalay Bay, because that's another mystery. The federales, Chris Ray is sitting on that one. Christopher Ray, the rat, is sitting on that one too. Nobody knows what happened over there. It was a bloodbath, absolute bloodbath. Let me get the board, and then we got Wuhan virus is a human biological weapon. Okay. Let me get the board, and let me get this popping. Okay, we got this. All right, I got the big white board now. We're going. That looks pretty good. All right. All right. So this is where we are, okay? The Chinese Communist Party, Islamic Republic of Iran, and Russia. Major cover-up. That major cover-up makes the Wuhan virus a human bioweapon. Now, before we go to the flow of this, what's the motive? China, what's China's motive? China wants to reduce the U.S. economy, and what they did was, unfortunately, they, in the middle of this pandemic, they negotiated a phase one with our great president Donald John Trump, and now we're not too sure. Our great president's taking a wait and see to see if China's going to comply, because according to our great president Donald John Trump, he's got a $250 billion deal with China. So he's putting a hammer. President Trump is taking his heel to the throat of President Xi, quite frankly, in a diplomatic way, right? He's squeezing them for the money, right? China hoarded the PPE, the equipment that was needed, the robes, the gowns, the masks, the gloves, the ventilators. China hoarded them. China quarantined Wuhan according to the German intel. Now Germany's intel is coming into the game. China quarantined Wuhan. Nobody from China is allowed to go into Wuhan, but people were allowed to go from Wuhan to other parts of the world. According to General Keane on Fox News, he's highly confident that President Xi, because the economy was tanking because of this virus, because of the coronavirus, he wanted other countries' economy to tank as well, the United States. And in addition, well, German intel called out the conspiracy between. Okay, so German intel, the one that German intel called out, and the reasons why our great president Donald John Trump was upset with the WHO, because they were protecting the data coming out of Wuhan, and the German intel came out with that President Xi conspired with the World Health Organization to suppress information about the human-to-human transmission. Horrific, right? Because we wanted to get in there, the West wanted to get in there, American scientists and the Western European scientists. Like there's a top French infectious disease doctor. If we got them involved, we could have blunted the curve between the American scientists and the Western European scientists. Who knows what could have happened? And then we got the Wuhan residents traveling all over the world. So this, we believe, plus Marwan Air. Now Marwan Air is owned by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, and that's the Khomeini dynasty. What up, Porky? So the Khomeini sent his Marwan Air 55 times into China, according to Secretary of State Pompeo. So Iran, according to the BBC, Marwan Air, which was sanctioned by the Trump administration as a foreign terrorist entity, owned by the Khomeini, the Khomeini owns the IRGC, who owns Marwan Air. And this was the airline that Obama used to transport the wood pallets of cash, the 1.7 billion, not in US dollars, Obama money laundered it to euros. And he used Marwan Air to get it to the IRGC. 5 sources we got on that one. Marwan Air. So, according to the BBC, Marwan Air is spreading the virus throughout the world. So we got the whacking of Soleimani for Iran. That's revenge. They want to reduce America. They want to kill America. They want to bomb America. They want to blow up America and blow up Israel. They want revenge for the whacking of Soleimani. And we'll show you. And then we go to Marwan Air, which is owned by the IRGC and is owned by the Khomeini. The Khomeini dynasty is worth over $200 billion. I don't know exactly the number, but it's upwards of $200 billion. I'm not sitting next to the accountant of the Khomeini dynasty. However, and then Russia, we believe Russia is just complicit. Russia don't have the economy China has, so Russia just wants to be in the game, and they're going to use military. They're going to use their nukes to garner a better economic position. That's why if you look at Yamal Peninsula, that's right by the Korea Sea in Russia. China is there, and Russia is there building. They've already built that. Last time I checked, they built one LNG plant, and that's what Russia is going to import. Russia is going to import LNG into China if they're not doing it already. So this is what, as well as Europe, that's what, and President Trump was very concerned about Russia's prowess in the energy field. That's why President Trump's done a phenomenal job. Unfortunately, we got this virus because President Trump unleashed the energy sector now in America. So now let's look at these vectors, right? We got Wuhan, China over here. Here's Tehran, the capital of Iran. So how do you go from Wuhan to China? So let's say hypothetically we have one Iranian Revolutionary Guard who's infected with the coronavirus, right? That's a human bioweapon. He's a radical Islamist, and he's carrying drugs. He's carrying money, quite frankly, right? He's got money, dirty money, from drug trafficking, Hezbollah, right? So he's in Tehran. He's aboard Marwan Air, right? So first of all, before we go to the air, what we like to do with the Frankie Russo show, what up, Porky? I'm telling you what's on the plane. An Iranian Revolutionary Guard, an infected with COVID-19, an Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps member. But before we take the plane from Tehran to Wuhan, I just want to look at the ground. I just want to tell you, it's almost parallel, 180 degrees. It's almost from Wuhan to Tehran. It's not. It's more like it's in the second quadrant in a basic Cartesian coordinate system. From Wuhan to Tehran, it's in the second quadrant. So it's like probably. So it's probably like 160 degrees northwest in the second quadrant. You'd be in Tehran. So it's something like that, right? So it's not like Baghdad to Damascus. It's not like Baghdad, Iraq to Damascus, Syria, where it's 180 degrees west. This is like northwest, maybe 160 degrees northwest from Wuhan. But there is a freight train that goes in from Wuhan into Tehran. But you're going through, not only is China so big, so you're talking about a long time. You go through Pakistan and Afghanistan to get into Iran with this train. So the most efficient way, and according to Secretary of State Pompeo, from Tehran, they took Marwan Air and flew into China 55 times. So we got an Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps member, flies in from Wuhan into China, gets infected, right? So he's infected in China. Now he flies back to Tehran, meets the Khomeini, goes back to Marwan. Now he's in Tehran, right? How do we get into Moscow? Well, from Tehran, we could take the train, right? We can meet Yasin al-Suri in Ankara, Turkey, or Istanbul, Turkey, and then take the train right into Moscow. But we're saying Marwan Air is so much involved here. We're going to go from Marwan Air. We'll go right into Moscow. So we got the infected with COVID-19 IRGC member, right? Now he's in Moscow. And he met with Yasin al-Suri, the Al-Qaeda facilitator that lives in Sahedin, the city of Sahedin, because from Tehran, he can also go down to the city of Sahedin where 600,000 Iranian Sunnis live, and there's an Afghan Taliban headquarters in there. There's four Afghan Taliban training camps inside of Iran, as well as there's a Hamas office, because what Iran does is, we talk about this all the time, the Iranian Global Terror Network is a Sunni Shiite nexus, right? So they facilitate from Tehran. They can go to Sahedin or they go right into Moscow. So they went right into Moscow with Marwan Air. Now they're in Moscow. We got to get into the Western Hemisphere with this. They got to get into this Western Hemisphere with this human bioweapon. How do they do it? Marwan Air. Where do they go? Caracas. They go right into Venezuela. That's the stealthy vector from Moscow into Caracas. Right next to Caracas is Margarita Island. That's the safe haven for Hezbollah, Hamas, Tariq al-Sami, who's been facilitating this ONIDEX, which is where they get the IDs, the passports, to move into Canada and or through Mexico into the United States. Beyond belief. They get their cover on Margarita Island. According to there's 12,000 to 20,000 radical Islamists living over there at Margarita Island, getting training, getting arming up, getting ready, getting ID'd up to go either into Canada from Bogota or to go through. So now they're over here in Moscow. They fly in Marwan Air because don't forget too, we got Russia in Venezuela. This is why Venezuela is the next Syria. And that's why President Trump, Secretary of State Pompeo, has got a 15 million. Maduro is like he's an OG gangster. Very bad. He was born in Bogota, Colombia. They don't even think he's Venezuelan. They don't think he's Venezuelan. He was born in Colombia. His mother's Colombian. He lived in Colombia at the beginning of his life. He was born in Colombia. What the Venezuelan people think about Maduro, that he's not Venezuelan, the same thing we think about Obama. Obama says Hawaii, we don't believe it. Obama says Kenya. I think it's more like Indonesia, but that's my gig, right? He's not a Christian. He's a Muslim from Indonesia. That's Obama. But anyway, then you got Morsi. Morsi was they say Morsi was born in America, according to my Egyptian Muslim friends. They say Morsi was Mohammed Morsi. The CIA, FBI put Morsi in power in Egypt. They coup Mubarak. There's another, right? And Mohammed Javad Zarif, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Iran, he was educated in America. He's an American too, put there by the federales, the CIA, FBI. It's crazy stuff, right? So from Moscow, Marwan is flying into Caracas, Venezuela, and they're hoarding their training. They're hiding their training. They're in Margarita Island is the safe haven. Western Hemisphere, dangerous. That's why Pompeo's watching this. Our great President Donald Trump is watching this. Very concerned with what's going on in Venezuela. First of all, Venezuela before Maduro took over, they were arguably, according to the Open Source Center, before our President Donald Trump took over the United States, which made us the #1 oil exporter on the planet. Our great President Donald John Trump unleashed the energy sector. The most verified, according to the Open Source, the most verified oil reserves was in Venezuela, more than Saudi Arabia. So we got this Margarita Island, this Caracas Margarita Island. So now, right? Iran, the Marwan Air flew in. It happened like 10 days ago. We read it on the air. Marwan Air flew into Caracas, and with IRGC, Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps members, for gold. 9 tons of gold they got from Venezuela. Apparently, according to the way this thing was presented, the Marwan Air, the IRGC was there to help Venezuela with their gasoline problem. And Venezuela gave Iran 9 tons of gold. President Trump, the Trump administration is concerned about Citgo, for example. Citgo, at one time, I don't know about now, but at one time Venezuela had they were the major shareholder of Citgo, an American energy company. And the Maduro regime was dangling the shares of Citgo with Russia. Could you imagine if Maduro sold Citgo to the Russian? That's an American energy company. This is crazy, right? But that's what's going on in Venezuela. You got Margarita Island, Hezbollah, Hamas, and this guy Tariq al-Assami. He moves the radical Islamists from Lebanon. Hezbollah, he's been accused with the Maduro regime, he's former vice president with Maduro, moving from Lebanon, Hezbollah militias into Caracas, into Margarita Island. From there, they go through Caracas into Bogota, Colombia. From Bogota, Colombia, either they take Marwan Air into Canada, where in Canada, the most Iranian refugees with asylum live in the Western Hemisphere is in Canada. and/or they go from Bogota, Colombia, across the Panama Canal, through Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, into Mexico, Guadalajara, Monterrey, and they're in San Diego, and they're in Tucson, Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, New Mexico, El Paso, Texas, San Antonio, Houston, New Orleans. Now you got that vector we talk about all the time. From the poppy fields of Mexico, they're going into New Orleans, Louisiana, through Macon County, Alabama, alongside Atlanta, Georgia. They're going into through Charlotte, North Carolina, through D.C., where Anwar al-Awlaki once was a Muslim cleric, into the Hamas conference for the 1993 World Trade Center bombing in Philadelphia, into the streets of New York. Crazy stuff. That's how they move. Now, what happened was in January, after they hit on Soleimani, after they hit on Soleimani, so they got the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps member to the borders of New York, the borders of the southern border of the U.S.-Mexican border, right? Just like that. And/or they fly him into Canada, and he tries to come into the northern border. Because what happened in January, after we waxed Soleimani, there was rumor, I saw it on a Spanish channel, right? This Spanish lady, she was the chief of police of this Mexican city right off the U.S.-Mexican border. And she was very upset and very concerned because they were translating her Spanish. And she was saying that there's some intel coming. There's 4 Iranian nationals with explosives coming in from Mexico into California. And she said, we're going to stop them. We're ready for them, right? So that's like the IRGC, and that's what the Quds Force with Soleimani used to do. They run this fake intel going through the U.S.-Mexican border. Meanwhile, later on in the month, thank you, our great President Donald John Trump, we're waiting for the Iranian nationals coming in from Canada, the northern border, and we detained this executive director of CARE, the Council of American and Islamic Relations, and he was going crazy. This is discrimination. No, we're protecting our country. We got to know who comes in and who comes out, who gets in and who gets out. We got to know what's going on. And CARE, the Council of American and Islamic Relations, they're unindicted co-conspirators in the biggest money laundering scheme for terrorist nation's history, the Holy Land Foundation trial. CARE are Muslim Brotherhood operatives. So this is what's going on. And we believe from Caracas, from Margarita Island, is the trigger in the Western Hemisphere how they're getting into our infrastructure. Now, President Trump, to his credit, he's done a fabulous job, right? With all this going on, he appoints the Joint Chiefs, General Milley. He's got the Southern Command, because Miami has become another port of entry. The Southern Command, he's got the Pentagon, the general of the Southern Command. They got their alerts up for Islamists running drugs into Miami, and that's how they'll get into that vector from Florida, like that Pensacola shooter did from Florida, right? In Florida, the Muhammad al-Shrami, right? And we also got Adin al-Sharike Juma from Florida to New Orleans, Louisiana. He met Muhammad Atta from the 9/11 hijackers in Florida, and he ended up being in El Paso, Texas. That same vector from New Orleans, Louisiana, Houston, Texas, San Antonio, El Paso, Texas. And that's where they had that terror cell. They call it the Narc Radicalismist Terror Cell, where Adin Sharike Juma met with an FBI asset, then went into Mexico, because it's right off the U.S.-Mexican border, then came back to the United States, then went into Mexico, then came back to the United States and changed his name from Adin Sharike Juma to a Spaniard. He became a Spaniard. Javier Robles. Crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. This is the stuff that's going on. So we believe from Wuhan, from West Asia, right? It's not far. Wuhan is not far from Shanghai. From West Asia, across to East Asia, Tehran, up to Eastern Europe, Moscow. Now you got Germany. Germany just threw out Hezbollah. You got UK, France, Spain. There's this Atlantic Ocean. We know the ground is not going. They're not, it'll take too much time, too much effort. What are you gonna put a submarine? No, 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 no. Marwan Air from Moscow into Caracas. From there, they go to Margarita Island. Then they go back to Caracas, Bogota. From Bogota, then they're going to Bogota, Colombia, right through Panama Canal, up through Mexico to the U.S.-Mexican border. That's one IRGC, one infected. And if you look at the way the density of the COVID virus was played out, middle of America, right? Just look at LA and look at from Mexico up to the streets of New York, right? New York and Jersey got the overflow from New York. That's where the sanctuary cities are. Nobody wants to talk about that stuff. Illegal immigrants coming into this country from inferior healthcare systems, infecting Americans. We're for legal immigration. People coming here legally, not illegally. That's a crime. What happens if they're carrying the COVID? What is that? And these Democrats that are controlling these states, New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, right? New Jersey, right? These governors, these Democratic, Michigan, these Democratic governors are horrific what they're doing to these states economically. Horrific, their policies on the lockdowns, right? Is this part of a strategy for mail-in ballots to steal? Because I see Trump 216 or I see a Trump landslide. I just want Trump. I see Trump victory here. He's got too much going for himself. Our great President Donald John Trump for re-election. With all that he has against him, he's got a lot going for him. It's crazy. The Trump campaign is on steroids. That's how good it is. I mean, how are they going to win? I don't care who they put VP. Michelle Obama, Hillary Clinton. Who are they going to put? Stacey Abrams. Who are you going to put? The top of the ticket wins elections. People are going to go vote for the top of the ticket, not for a vice president. I'm sorry. A lot of things have changed in U.S. presidential elections. Things are not done. There's the Trump campaign basically is the new model, right? But one axiom runs through and through with U.S. presidential elections, and that is the top of the ticket wins it. The president of the United States, the candidate, the top position pulls the ticket. And that's it. And that is it. So I'm going to add more to this board tomorrow as we begin, because I got the other vectors. Let me see if I got them over here. I'm going to add to the board some other stuff, because I'm going full throttle on China. Right? We got this vector here. How y'all doing? We got this vector here. We're broadcasting simultaneously into Facebook, YouTube, and Scope. And I got my website. And then I got this little Scope thing because I'm trying to get people to go move into the app. So here's this vector. I talked about this earlier. So we're starting with other vectors. Here it is. Here's the other. So here's the vectors, right? All right. I forgot to record. I didn't press record. Okay, I got this going, so it's cool. But here's this vector. Right? So this was this vector with China. So this one with China is crazy, right? Here it is. Right. So we got basically we got the Bill Clinton, William Jefferson Clinton's Department of Energy, Hazel O'Leary, Bill Richardson. Scientist Wo Ho Lee downloaded all our nuclear information from the computers at Los Alamos National Lab to an unknown source. And that was confirmed. So it was a big cover-up by the Clinton administration. They covered up for China big time because they wanted to do business with China, right? And it came out, the CIA, we're adding this vector now. I'm going to start adding these vectors. I got a lot of China. So this is, we're going, this is a frequentistic approach. A frequentistic approach. What did you say about the voting, Gary? I didn't see it. According to George Tenet, China obtained by espionage classified U.S. nuclear weapons, the W-88s, at the time the most advanced nuclear warhead we possessed was the W-88s, the Trident II. So China obtained by espionage classified U.S. nuclear weapons, information that probably accelerated its program to develop future nuclear weapons. The collection program allowed China to focus successfully down critical paths and avoid less promising approaches to nuclear designs. China obtained at least basic design information on several modern U.S. nuclear reentry vehicles, including the Trident II W-88. China also obtained information on a variety of U.S. weapon design concepts, weaponization features, including those of the neutron bomb. And this was from the thievery of the Wuhan, of Wo Ho Lee, scientist in Los Alamos National Lab. That's one. In addition, we got this professor from Harvard, Charles Lieber, who was indicted by the FBI for, he was a biochemical professor, chair of department in Harvard. And basically, here it is. Harvard, according to the FBI press release, so there's more vectors we're going to add to this thing. FBI. Harvard University professor and 2 Chinese nationals charged in 3 separate China-related cases. You're probably right, Gary. So we got the chair, so we got this Chinese national was arrested in December of 2019, around the time of the Wuhan virus, was arrested at Boston's Logan International Airport, charged by criminal complaint attempting to smuggle 21 vials of biological research to China. Dr. Charles Lieber, chair of the Department of Chemistry and Chemical Biology at Harvard, crazy, was arrested, charged by criminal complaint with 1 count of making a materially false, fictitious, and fraudulent statement. Lieber will appear before a magistrate judge in Boston. And we got this lieutenant of the People's Liberation Army, the Chinese Communist Party, Lieutenant Yi, this lady, was indicted for visa fraud, making false statements, acting as an agent of a foreign government and conspiracy. She's currently in China. Now, this Dr. Lieber was granted $15 million from the NIH. So he's not supposed to have foreign ties. You're not supposed to be taking the United States taxpayers' money and taking it to a foreign country. In addition, Unbeknownst to Harvard University, beginning in 2011, this Dr. Lieber became a strategic scientist at Wuhan University of Technology and was a contractual participant in China's 1,000 Talents Plan, which is basically what they do there is one of the most prominent Chinese talent recruit plans that are designed to attract, recruit, and cultivate high-level scientific talent in furtherance of China's scientific development, economic prosperity, and national security. These talent programs seek to lure Chinese overseas talent and foreign experts to bring their knowledge and expertise to China. So this 1,000 Talents program gets the best Chinese students and brings them over to America. And that's what Lieber's involved with. They come over here, they get educated on everything about all our proprietary information and take it back to China and use it against us. That's basically what's going on. So this Dr. Lieber from Harvard was getting $50,000 per month and living expenses up to $1 million from in Chinese Wuhan, from Chinese yuan. I'm sorry, I got the Wuhan lab on my brain. Awarded him more than $1.5 million to establish a research lab at Wuhan University of Technology. So this is what's going on now. This Lieutenant Yi, she was a lieutenant in the People's Liberation Army, the armed forces of the People's Republic of China, a member of the Chinese Communist Party. Her J-1 visa application, this Lieutenant Yi falsely identified herself as a student and lied about her ongoing military service at the National University of Defense Technology, a top military academy directed by the Chinese Communist Party. It is further alleged that while studying at Boston University, Department of Physics, Chemistry, and Biomedical Engineering from October 17 to April 19, 2019, Lieutenant Yi continued to work as the People's Liberation Army lieutenant, completing numerous assignments from PLA's offices, People's Liberation Army, such as conducting research, assessing U.S. military websites, and sending U.S. documents and information to China. So they come here as their Chinese spies. And they pose as students. This is crazy. Now this other scientist from Boston falsely claimed. So she also falsely claimed that she had minimal contact with the two professors, which was a lie, basically. So this Lieutenant Yi had accessed U.S. military websites, researched U.S. military projects, compiled information for the People's Liberation Army on two U.S. scientists with expertise in robotics and computer science. This is very bad. Very bad. And then this other Chinese scientist was in a research lab in Boston, Beth Israel's Deaconess Medical Center in Boston. He had a J-1 visa and conducted cancer cell research there from September 2018 to December of 2019. And he stole 21 vials of biological research and attempted to smuggle them out of the United States to China. Federal officers at Logan Airport discovered the vials hidden in a sock inside one of his bags and not properly packaged. He had stolen the vials from a lab at Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center in Boston, and he stated that he intended to bring the vials to China to use them to conduct research in his own laboratory and publish the results under his own name. You believe this? Stealing the data, stealing our research, stealing our information. So those vectors I'm going to bring tomorrow. So I got the vectors for these are already. So this is going to be part of the board. In 1999, under the Clinton administration, China obtained by espionage classified U.S. nuclear information, the Trident II W-88 under the William Jefferson Clinton administration. and that was confirmed by George Tenet, the CIA director. And then we're going to talk about we're going to plot the vectors. Dr. Lieber from Harvard, the Harvard professor, the Chinese scientist from Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center in Boston, he was indicted, and then Lieutenant Yi from the People's Liberation Army, she was indicted. So we're going to start to get these vectors, and we're going to put it all together, and it's going to be, at the very least, statistically significant that China is covering up once again in a big way. They suppressed the information about the human-to-human transmission. President Trump numerous times was trying to talk to President Xi and get the American scientists in there, get the Western European scientists in there to blunt this thing. To no avail. So I'm going to get out of here now. I'm tired. What time is it? I'm on the air. 1 hour and 30 minutes. I'm out. It's about 11:44. I'm going to get out of here. Okay? God bless you all in the room. Thank you for the visit. God bless the men and women of the, thank you for the visit. YouTube Live, Facebook Live, Scope Live, and I got the Scope Room because I'm trying to get people to come. You got to go to the Apple Store, put Frankie Russo and join the America's Team app. Go to the Google Play, the Android, put Frankie Russo in there and get the America's Team app. This is Frankie Russo. God bless you all in the room. Thank you for your visit. God bless the men and women of the United States Armed Forces. I thank you for your service. I thank you for providing me with the freedom that I love, what I love to do when I broadcast. I thank you. And God bless the greatest country on the planet, America. And God bless our great president, Donald John Trump. We got to get him reelected November 3rd, 2020. And we want the Trump coattails. We want to take back the House and keep the Senate. This is Frankie Russo coming at you straight out of Brooklyn. I'll see you tomorrow night. I'm going to try to make it more like 9 o'clock, but I was just relaxing, and I just, I was coming on tonight. But this is Frankie Russo coming at you straight out of Brooklyn. I'll see you tomorrow night, 9-ish Eastern Standard Time. This is Frankie Russo, and I'll see you in the future. This is Frankie Russo. God bless the men and women of the United States